Part 80. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 792. Wu Yazun is dead. Wu Zunbang disappeared forever. All that was left was a stone, standing silently with no sign of life. It was once infected with a ray of martial arts energy, it once passed down martial arts methods in the martial world, it once brutally plundered the flesh and blood of many geniuses. It died for the Wuhuang realm. Long Xuanhuan looked at the stone, and a hint of unbearability flashed in his eyes. He stepped forward and picked up the small stone. It has made mistakes, but it has also completed its own redemption. Death washes away everything. You will stay with me. Long Xuanhuan whispered. And in the sky, a stone crow came towards Long Xuanhuan again. Wow, no wonder he didn't die back then. The 9-life stone crow is one of the most difficult species to kill. This kind of creature is extremely destructive to the soul and soul. If it takes a bite, the soul will be destroyed. The big black dog also whispered when he saw this. The 9-life stone crow is definitely a terrifying creature that is not weaker than the eternal ring demonic snake. Even someone as powerful as Wu Yazun cannot escape its peck, which shows how powerful it is. But Long Xuanhuan's face was calm at this moment, and he took out a bow. To be precise, it was a bow embryo. Previously, he had not returned the bow embryo he had taken from Li Fan's study, but had kept it with him. At this moment, he raised the bow embryo. Then, make a gesture of drawing the bow. Above the sea, smoke and waves stirred. At this moment, as Long Xuanhuan drew his bow, all the original energy in the world was swallowed by the whale, and was compressed into an arrow on his bow embryo. Quack! The terrifying stone crow seemed to feel the fear and began to sneak around. However, Long Xuanhuan's martial arts true eye has already locked onto it. Then, the long bow was released. There was no string in the bow, but the arrow flew away quickly at this moment. An arrow of origin chi penetrated the world. The stone crow was flying in the sky and hiding, but it was still locked by the arrow. Quack quack. The stone crow was shot to pieces. Suddenly, one stone crow was shot and exploded, and another stone crow appeared again. The 9-lived stone crow was born with 9 lives. Quack, what kind of bow is this? The chaos sun shooting bow you used in your previous life? No. This is stronger than that bow. Stone crow was trembling and said. In the Beiwu ancestral realm, is there still Tianzun alive? Impossible. Long Xuanhuan just silently drew his bow. Second arrow. Bang. The second stone crow was shot. Martial Lord, don't kill me. I know many secrets. Leave me alive and I can take you to find your past life. The third stone crow appeared. At this moment, the 9-life stone crow was completely panicked and begging. The third arrow. Bang. The fourth stone crow appeared. It was running away quickly and said. There is a true giant hidden in the martial world, an unparalleled powerhouse among the grey mist creatures. Your body was suppressed by him, don't you want to find it? The fourth arrow. Bang. Long Xuanhuan's expression was so calm, but there was a sense of killing. The martial arts will filled the sky, and the stone crow had nowhere to escape. The fifth arrow. The fifth stone crow was shot. If the world were to see this scene, it would definitely shock the world. The stone crow was an absolutely terrifying existence in the pre-white mist era, but now, it was shot to death by Long Xuanhuan with a bow, without even the strength to resist. Martial Lord, do you really want to kill them all? The 9-life stone crow's voice was trembling, and its eyes were filled with anger as it said. I'll fight you. In an instant, it transformed into 3 stone crows and rushed towards Long Xuanhuan from 3 directions. The 9-life stone crow has terrifying potential and can kill all souls. Long Xuanhuan thought of it and stretched out his hand to draw the bow again. This time, all the source energy rushed in crazily throughout the sky. The source energy of the entire Tianese Peninsula, and even the entire southern territory, was drained at this moment. 3 arrows appeared on Long Zixuan's bow embryo. 3 arrows shot out suddenly. The stone crows in 3 directions exploded at the same time. Bang bang bang. At this moment, Long Zixuan felt a burst of exhaustion. This bow is too strong. If he hadn't been guided by a ray of chi from his past life, he probably wouldn't have been able to draw it so many times in a row. Quack. But at this moment, the last 9-life stone crow tore through the void and flew away. It spent its last 3 lives just to hold Long Zixuan for a moment, giving itself time to escape. Chase. Don't let this little crow escape. The big black dog barked suddenly. However, at this moment, the entire South China Sea seemed to be turned upside down. Billions of grey fog creatures, sharks as huge as boats, devil dolphins soaring into the sky, swimming crabs as huge as mountains, lobsters wearing armor. All the creatures in the South China Sea have long become slaves of the 9-life stone crow and the eternal ring demonic snake. At this moment, before leaving, the 9-life stone crow issued an order, and all the creatures in the sea were frantically attacking Long Zixuan. Holy shit, isn't this too much of a special girl? Wu Dade's scalp was numb. The creatures in the entire vast ocean seemed to be densely packed. The ones that can fly are overwhelming the sky, and the ones that can't fly are roaring in the sea. If these things were released, they would be enough to cause chaos in the entire martial world. Although there are no top-level creatures among them, there are also many creatures in the 6th realm, 7th realm, and even stronger ones. Seeing this, Long Zixuan put away his bow, and then took out a net. It was a dusty fishing net, as if it had been sitting at the bottom of the box for a long time and had not been used. Long Zixuan threw the entire fishing net out. In an instant, the fishing net suddenly stretched hundreds of millions of miles. Every fishing net line seems to have turned into a chain of order, exuding billions of magical powers. This fishing net can be called a great net, a dragnet. The fishing nets covered it, and countless grey mist creatures were directly destroyed. Creatures that were too weak were killed directly and disappeared into thin air. Even the original energy of the grey mist was completely refined. But all those with powerful auras are trapped in the fishing nets and cannot escape at all. The fishing net was radiant, and the marine creatures that were caught were baptized and refined, and their minds were directly killed. A flying demon dolphin, whose origin of grey mist was cut off, turned into an ordinary large dolphin, rolling in the fishing net. A huge swimming crab, its grey fog hard shell was chopped off, lying in the fishing net unable to escape. In the end, this huge fishing net caught tens of thousands of various marine creatures, including dolphins, swimming crabs, lobsters, oysters, and so on. But the rest were all destroyed. Seeing this scene, even Long Zixuan pondered for a moment. He just threw out the fishing net and didn't move it at all. This fishing net completely catches and kills marine life on its own. It seems that for fishing nets, those who are not qualified to be caught can only be killed. How do you feel? This fishing net looks familiar. Wu Dade was a little stunned. Zhang Li felt a little excited and said, I knew that fishing for the second uncle back then would never be that simple. What kind of existence was he, back then? He felt that it would be extremely extraordinary for the second uncle to go there. In the entire South China Sea, all living creatures, except those caught, have been wiped out. It was destroyed very cleanly and thoroughly. Let's go after the stone crow. They spoke immediately. The 9-life stone crow escaped, but that creature was very difficult to die. As long as it was cultivated for a period of time, it could have 9 lives. Keeping it will be a big disaster after all. Brother Dehe, point me in the direction and I'll chase you. The little turtle spoke. It's good at arranging formations, but when it comes to tracking enemies, Dehe's nose is best used. The big black dog sniffed, raised his paws, and said, "Towards the east wasteland." And at this moment, the distant eastern wasteland, a stone crow flew across the sky. It headed directly towards a wild and forbidden land. In the forbidden area, the aura of taboo permeated the air. Outside the rolling mountains, there was a huge stone tablet erected with 3 huge ancient characters on it. Xuanhuan. Sleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 793. In the forbidden area of Xuanhuan, a stone crow flew in. The crow landed on the edge of a mountain in the forbidden area. Quack, quack, quack. The stone crow kept calling, very urgently, and uttered human words. "Senior, in this world, the martial lord from the former white mist era has appeared. He is hunting the grey mist creatures. He has killed 8 clones of me. Now, he is coming to kill you. I'm here to tell you, please run away." The 9-life stone crow spoke, with a trace of expectation in his eyes. It fled here from the South China Sea because it knew that there was a truly unparalleled strong man here. Even if it is it must be feared and feared. And the other party is also a pure grey mist creature. Therefore, it has thought of killing someone with a borrowed knife. As long as Wu Zun dares to chase him here, then this existence here should kill him directly. Under the mountain peak, there was suddenly a burst of laughter. "Ha ha ha! Come to kill me? Martial Lord!" A powerful voice sounded. "Yes, Senior, that martial master is holding an unparalleled divine bow. It is too terrifying. You must prepare early." The 9-life stone crow spoke. However, under the mountain peak, a big hand suddenly stretched out and grabbed the 9-life stone crow in the palm of his hand. "No." The 9-life stone crow was trembling and terrified. Immediately afterwards, the entire mountain peak in the forbidden area cracked. In the peak body, there was an old man with silver hair sitting. The clothes on the old man's body were dusty after countless years, and there were even many moth-eaten holes in them. His face was covered with dust, as if he had been sitting there for tens of thousands of epochs. He was sitting cross-legged on an iron coffin. The old man waved his hand, grabbed the 9-life stone crow, and bit off its head in one bite. As a terrifying creature, Stone Crow was unable to resist at all in the hands of the old man. The old man took a sip of Stone Crow's grey blood, nodded and said, "I haven't eaten meat for a long time, the taste is okay, but the meat is a bit missing." He ate up the Stone Crow feathers in 3 or 2 mouthfuls. After eating, he stood up, and the next moment, he was at the highest peak of the forbidden area. On the highest peak, a sarcophagus stands, seeming to suppress the entire forbidden area. The person in the bed has already arrived. The old man looked at the sarcophagus and said, "Although you beat me half to death back then, I still have to say, Luo Xing Chen, I have never admired anyone else in my life, only you. Because you are the most ruthless person. You have walked all the roads by yourself, ruthless enough." There was a hint of sadness in the old man's eyes. In the pre-white mist era, he once traveled in the sea of grey mist and was truly a peerless powerhouse. However, his path of cultivation, relying on himself, could not reach the end. Until he was caught in this world by a woman. As a peerless strong man, how could he be convinced? He fought with that woman, but ended up being beaten to half-death and she even fell to her knees. However, this was not the reason why he was convinced by the woman. The most important thing is, that woman actually took a path that he had never taken before. The road to martial arts. He shamelessly asked for advice, but the woman made a bet with him. Let him guard a corpse and wait for this life. When the time comes, someone will come to take over his path. Regarding the woman's words, he had no choice, either accept the bet or be beaten to death by her. For this, he has waited until this life. You are very strong, ridiculously strong, but I doubt that there is anyone in this world who can compete with you. Can you reach the level of martial arts like you? Luo Xingchen whispered. However, as soon as he said these words, a wisp of energy suddenly fell from the sarcophagus on the mountain peak. Ah! Luo Xingchen let out a scream and was knocked away, hitting the ground hard. Okay, I don't call myself I anymore, stop fighting. He stood up quickly and spoke towards the coffin. But then he was knocked away again. It turns out it's not because I call myself Lao Tzu. Is it because I said that no one in this world can compare with you? The sarcophagus was silent. Seeing this, Luo Xingchen suddenly felt angry and said, "Didn't I praise you by saying this? What kind of taboo did I violate by saying this? You want to hit me like this?" He felt that he was wronged. However, on the mountain peak, the coffin suddenly flew up. The coffin took Mu Jianing, Huo Linger, and Yang Chu directly out of the forbidden area. Seeing that the sarcophagus was about to leave, Luo Xingchen hurriedly spoke, saying, "Hey, did you die when you were on that road in your current life? If you die, I will take a detour from that road in the future." However, the sarcophagus did not respond and simply disappeared into the sky. Luo Xingchen was helpless when he saw this. "That's all, if you don't answer, I'll just pretend you're still alive." He shook his head and said, "It's such a pity that the person who was able to bring Wandao to that point dies, and all the heavens will weep." As he spoke, he raised his head and looked at the iron coffin on the mountain peak where he was just now. "Martial Lord." There was a hint of contempt in his eyes. "In terms of martial arts, I am stronger than you. Although you could be said to be jealous of talents in your previous life, you still died young after all. In this life, can you go further than me and continue where I left off? I hope you won't disappoint me, otherwise, I will chop you alive." He looked fierce. Then he waved his hand. Some kind of power that suppressed the iron coffin suddenly disappeared. When there was a sudden sound in the iron coffin, as if something came to life and was hitting the iron coffin. There was already a slight crack in the lid of the iron coffin. A terrifying ray of martial arts energy was instantly released from it. This energy directly swept through the entire martial wilderness forbidden land, and then spread to the entire eastern wilderness and the entire martial wilderness world. At this moment, everyone in the Wuhuang world feels this, and they are all panicked. What kind of breath is this? More powerful than Wu Zunbang? Could it be that Wu Zun was born? No, this kind of energy makes me feel like I'm facing a big disaster, and my heart is uneasy. Many people are speculating, are shocked, and feel like a disaster is imminent. A chi machine came from the distant eastern wasteland and swept directly across the entire southern territory. The battle in the South China Sea has ended. We only saw a stone crow flying out of the South China Sea and heading towards the eastern wasteland. In the southern territory, the Chen clan, the Supreme Holy Land and other forces were all frightened at this moment and looked towards the direction of Donghuang. The previous battles on the sea were of such a high level that they didn't even dare to watch them. Until now, the grey fog on the sea has disappeared, it is calm, and the sea surface does not look weird at all. However, Donghuang's energy is so amazing. Did that stone crow go to the forbidden area in the eastern wasteland? Gao Yishan guessed, his face changed. There must have been a big disaster over there. Wuhuang Forbidden City has always been a forbidden land for all eternity. All creatures who step into it will eventually die. Once the existence inside it comes out, I'm afraid it will cause a huge disaster. Everyone has fear in their hearts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 794. Now, avoid outside the Wuhuang realm. Sir, you are finally alive. Yang Chengxian, Yang Tian's protector, was in tears at this moment. In front of him, Yang Tian has been reborn, and there is still a white mist on his body. They were sent out of the Wuhuang realm by Wu Yizun with great magic power and appeared in this space. Immediately, Yang Chengxian asked Ao Wushuan to take action to save Yang Tian. Now, Yang Tian is finally alive. In fact, the magic power left by Wu Yizun was extraordinary. When Ao Wushuan gave a source of energy, his body reshaped itself. More perfect than before. Yang Tian was a little dazed and said, "I'm still alive, what's going on? I have a lot more martial arts in my mind, it's so unbelievable. The potential in my body feels stronger than before, what's going on?" He was extremely surprised. Yang Chengxian said, "Sir, Wu Yizun beat you to a pulp in order to give you the Wu Zun method to remove the forbidden curses in your cultivation method, while leaving a glimmer of hope. Of course, the most important thing is that Mr. Ao, who is so kind and righteous, has given you a piece of his original energy to help you be reborn." He solemnly introduced Ao Wushuan next to him. Ao Wushuan was a little shocked when he saw Yang Tian come back to life. He didn't expect that his original energy could really save Yang Tian, who had only a glimmer of life left. Is my original energy so useful? At this moment, he suddenly felt that seemed like he could go out and sell it. This is a good way to make a fortune. Thank you Mr. Ao for saving your life. Yang Tian bowed to Ao Wushuan. Ao Wushuan said directly, "I won't thank you for your kindness, just give me money." Yang Tian was startled when he heard this. This benefactor was a little different. However, he did not hesitate and gave all the storage rings and other items on his body to Ao Wushuan. "Mr. Ao, these are all the origin stones I carry, 300,000 top-grade origin stones. Please accept it, sir." Ao Wushuan copied it directly and said, "Okay, we're settled, goodbye." After saying that, Ao Wushuan turned around and ran away. "The evil little mountain village has been chasing me, I can't stay in this martial world. Gotta escape." His figure was as fast as a gust of wind and disappeared in an instant. This benefactor is so fast. Yang Tian was a little stunned. The smelting essence on his legs is amazing. Protector Yang Chengxian couldn't help but admire. However, right now, a ray of energy came from the Wuhuang realm and overflowed directly into the space where they were. What kind of qi machine is this? Yang Xuanhuan's expression changed drastically. Yang Tian was also shocked and said, "The aura of martial arts, however, it is stronger than the martial master list. Is the martial master born?" At this moment, he has obtained various methods given by Wu Zunbang, and his sense of martial arts is far better than before. He can feel the source of this energy. It's very likely that it's Wu Zun. No. There is no martial lord anywhere in this world, there is just an evil corpse. The evil corpse is born. Could it be that the explorer succeeded? Yang Tian had some unbearable expression on his face and said, "Is it true that no one within the Guardians abides by the Old Testament anymore? They actually allowed the visitors to release evil corpses." Beside him, the protector Yang Chengxian shook his head and said, "According to the Old Testament, the 9 Dharma is a method that defies heaven. It only requires 12 cultivators who have reached the ultimate level of the 9 Dharma to sacrifice the world at the same time. All the creatures in the entire ancestral world can pass the biggest hurdle and successfully get on the road, and those who are the ultimate masters of the 9 dharmas will also find opportunities to attain enlightenment when they are on their way across the world. However, regarding this method of taking the world on the road, the ultimates in the temple of sacrifice to the world are already controversial. Many ultimates think it is not feasible." I don't know what he thought of, but a sad look appeared on his old face inexplicably, and he said, Only the two ancestors of our Yang and Zhang tribes went against heaven and followed the Old Testament to sacrifice the world with the 9 methods. As a result, you are the only one left in the Yang family, and the entire Zhang clan has disappeared. Even the 2 ancestors who have reached the ultimate point of the 9 Dharma have suffered great weirdness, and no one knows whether they are alive or dead. Since then, the Guardians no longer believe in the Old Testament's theory of sacrificing the world. They even want to negotiate and cooperate with the visitors to release the evil corpses in order to reconnect with the Sea of Grey Mist. Because the ultimate masters dare not take the 9 methods of enlightenment, so they can only choose the method of the Grey Fog world. He sighed deeply and said, "The one who was at the end of 10,000 paths back then, in order to protect the ancestral realm, slashed out of the abyss with one sword, so that the creatures in the Sea of Grey Mist could not take a step further. Now, the ultimates in the Temple of Sacrifice want to destroy her hard work in order to prove the truth. Sir, a big change is coming. Once the bridge between the Sea of Grey Mist and the ancestral realm is rebuilt, what will happen is unimaginable. The Yang family is the top family of guardians, and the ancestor Yang Daomei was once the ultimate master of the 9 arts. Therefore, Yang Chengxian and Yang Tian knew many top secrets." Yang Tian fell into deep silence after hearing this. He clenched his fists and said after a long time, "I want to rise quickly. There are no 10 gods in this life, and there is no one who is the end of 10,000 paths. We can only rely on ourselves." Meanwhile, on the other side, outside the Wuhuang world, in the void, on top of a battleship, a middle-aged man in a soap robe stood on the bow of the ship, his face extremely solemn at this moment. "I sensed Wu Zun's aura," he whispered. "It shouldn't be. Why has the evil corpse been activated before the divine bones have been brought over? Did Zhao Jixiao and the others do it?" This middle-aged man, named Song Ji Yuan, is a visiting envoy in the visiting organization. This time, according to the arrangement of the Prohibitor organization, he was responsible for escorting a sacred bone. That sacred bone contains some kind of magical power, which can activate the evil corpse of Wu Zun. However, what Song Ji Yuan didn't expect was that he had just arrived in the Wuhuang realm, and felt the aura of Wu Zun's birth. It surprised him. Zhao Jixiao and others can at most determine the location of Wu Zun's evil corpse. It is impossible to awaken Wu Zun's evil corpse. No matter what, I still have to go to this martial wilderness world. He whispered and took out a jade box. In the jade box, there is an arm bone. The arm bones were gray and looked like stones, covered with dense cracks. This sacred bone is the body of the Forbidden Lord. Song Ji Yuan whispered. The Forbidden Lord is the master of their forbidden organization. It is said that it can be traced back to the pre-White Mist era. The body of the Forbidden Lord contains some kind of evil and violent power, which can activate the brand in the evil corpse and revive it. At the same time, the brand in the evil corpse can also repair the cracks on the bones of the Forbidden Master, allowing the Forbidden Master to be reborn as soon as possible. Now, although the evil corpse of Wu Zun was released for some reason, he still had to take the bones of the Forbidden Lord to repair them. "Come here, summon Zhao Jixiao and others, determine their location, and ask them to greet me." Song Ji Yuan spoke. Hearing this, a man in black robes behind him immediately took out a token and injected mana into it. This token can harmonize with the tokens of Zhao Jixiao and others. With the injection of mana, the token suddenly glowed. However, the man in black robe was suddenly shocked and said, "Sir, it's bad, Zhao Jixiao, Hai Luo and others are all dead." Hearing this, Song Ji Yuan's expression changed drastically. "What's going on? Have all the nails we have in the martial world been removed by others?" he roared. "No. There's another one." The man in black robe was shocked and said, "He's heading towards us, very close." As he said that, the man in black robe suddenly raised his eyes and said, "Sir, he is here." Song Ji-yuan raised his head and looked forward. I saw a middle-aged man running towards me at a lightning speed, that was so fast. I'm going to bed peacefully. You can retreat later. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 795. Song Ji-yuan and others looked and saw a middle-aged man running towards them in a hurry. Very fast. Sir, this man has the secret talisman of our explorer. He is one of ours, and he is also the last one left. On the bow of the boat, the man in black robe spoke. Hearing this, Song Ji-yuan nodded and said, "Let him come here." In an instant, a man in black robe flew out from the warship, stopped the middle-aged man, and took him back to the ship. "Are you from Zhaojixiao? What's your name?" Song Ji-yuan looked at the middle-aged man and asked indifferently. This middle-aged man is none other than Ao Wushuan. He looked at the people on the boat, a little dumbfounded. Damn it, I was running for my life, why did I meet these murderers again? However, he knew that these people could not afford to offend. Sir, the villain's name is Ao Wushuan. He is seeking death, no, he is a member of the Prowlers. Ao Wushuan could only bite the bullet and speak. Did you escape from the Wuhuang realm? What happened in the Wuhuang realm? Why did Zhao Jixiao and others die? Song Ji-yuan asked coldly. Ao Wushuan said. Master Qi, Master Zhao, and Master Hailuo were killed by Wu Zunbang. Ao Wushuan did not hide anything, and immediately told the news about the birth of the martial master list and the battle in Jinhai City. Hearing this, a look of surprise flashed across Song Ji-yuan's face. Wu Zunbang. Song Ji-yuan murmured. This thing should be related to Wu Zun, maybe it was precisely because of this thing that Wu Zun's evil corpse was awakened. He felt that was probably the case. Haha, this saves a lot of trouble. He raised his eyes and said. Come on, lead the way, let's go to Wuhuang realm. Hearing this, Ao Wushuan suddenly turned extremely ugly. He finally escaped and now he has to go back. Leading the way again and again and again? Sir, there are a lot of evil things in the Wuhuang world. Otherwise, we'd better not go there. He couldn't help but open his mouth to persuade. Evil. Song Ji-yuan sneered. What I'm looking for is exactly the evil thing. Quickly lead the way. As a prisoner, you dare to disobey orders. Do you know that you will be punished? What a joke, the bones of the Forbidden Lord in his hand contain extremely strong and strange energy. The more evil things are encountered, the faster the recovery of the Forbidden Lord's bones will be accelerated. When Ao Wushuan heard this, his head suddenly got big. Sure enough, these people who commit suicide, don't listen to others. If you are looking for someone evil, okay, sir, then you have found the right person. Come on, follow me. Ao Wushuan gritted his teeth and gave up. Immediately, he led everyone back to Wuhuang realm. As soon as he entered the Wuhuang world, Song Ji-yuan looked directly in the direction of Donghuang. Where does Wu Zun's aura come from? Song Ji-yuan said. Let's go to Donghuang. The void is constantly changing. The big black dog and the little turtle work together to achieve unimaginable speed. Dehei pointed his finger, and Xuanhuan's magic circle immediately followed. The transformation of space dazzled Wu Date and others. Boom! The space was torn apart, and finally, they appeared outside a wild and forbidden land. Slow down, damn, I made the fat man faint. Wu Date felt a little motion sick. This space formation was too fast and he couldn't accept it. What is this place? Zhang Li spoke and looked up. When he saw the three ancient characters in front of him, his expression suddenly became solemn. Wuhuangjin. Is this a forbidden area? Everyone was a little confused. This breath is so evil. The big black dog sniffed, A solemn look flashed in the dog's eyes, looked at Long Xuanhuan, and said, "It's the aura of your kid's previous life. It seems that you were really transformed into an evil corpse in your previous life. We have to find a way to kill you in your previous life, otherwise it will be a disaster if you keep it." It is thinking. But at this moment, the little turtle said with some uncertainty, "There should be more than one martial lord evil corpse hidden in this place. It's very possible that there's a big one, a super big one. When it sees this place, it has already remembered something." Hearing the words, the big black dog squinted his eyes and sensed carefully. After a while, a look of disbelief flashed in the dog's eyes and said, "It's really a big deal. Wow, could he be the person who killed the 10 lords in the previous White Mist era? It doesn't look like it. My Dao fruit hasn't come back, so if I break in now, I feel like I'm going to give away the dog's head." At this moment, the dog's face showed a rare solemnity. Because this forbidden area is really extraordinary. Even a dog like him who has seen a lot of things in the world feels that he cannot enter rashly. In addition to this evil corpse of the martial lord, it is very likely that there is also a truly terrifying existence hidden inside. I'll go in, just wait here for me. But at this moment, Long Xuanhuan suddenly spoke. "Senior brother, think twice, I don't know the depth of this place." Zhang leaves the exit. The big black dog also said in a deep voice, "The existence hidden here may not be able to deal with you even when you were in your heyday." Hearing this, Zhang Li, Wu Date and others became even more awe-inspiring. "Big black dog, this is the first time that I have made such a comment. A being that even when the 10 gods are at their peak, they may not be able to deal with? This kind of existence, even in the pre-White Mist era, would probably be earth-shattering. Now, I am actually dormant here." However, Long Xuanhuan looked solemn and said, "I must go. I should destroy this body in my previous life." After saying that, he suddenly handed the wooden basin, bow embryo and fishing net all to Zhang Li and others. "The battle of life and death between me and my previous life does not need to rely on external objects." Long Xuanhuan spoke, and after he finished speaking, he walked into the Wuhuang Forbidden City step by step. Zhang Li and others all frowned. "Damn dog, what should I do? How about we go back and call someone?" Wu Date said directly. However, at this time, the little turtle said thoughtfully, "No. This is a bet, Long Xuanhuan is the one who keeps the appointment." Hearing this, everyone immediately looked at it. "What did you remember?" Everyone was staring at the little turtle. The little turtle was a little embarrassed by the crowd and said, "I seem to have remembered something. The strong man here should have been captured from the sea of grey mist by the one at the end of 10,000 paths." It had some confusion in its eyes and said thoughtfully, "The most powerful man in the forbidden area was probably beaten to death by her, and then he was forced to make a bet with her. I'm betting that someone in the future will come to connect and break the path for this most powerful man, and the price is that this most powerful man must guard an evil corpse. Long Xuanhuan is the person who connected the broken path for him." The little turtle murmured. Everyone was a little shocked when they heard this. They all remembered what was written in Little Turtle's suicide note. 12 desperate bets, exchange for 12 strong men to suppress 12 evil corpses and maintain peace for a lifetime. Could this be the true meaning of that sentence in the suicide note? The one at the end of 10,000 roads captured a bunch of strong men? I'll sneak in and take a look. The little turtle opened his mouth and said, "Don't worry, with this shell, it won't be easy for Mr. Turtle to die." Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 796. Long Xuanhuan walked into Wuhuang Forbidden City. The mountains and rivers are wild and the land is primitive. It's like walking into a picture scroll from ancient times. There are primitive elixirs that are growing crazily everywhere. No one has disturbed them for millions of years, and the medicinal properties are almost turning into water droplets. The surrounding mountains and forests were as quiet as death, without a single bird or animal. Occasionally, there are some human bones lying in the wilderness, which belong to the strong people in the martial world. For countless years, many strong men, when their lives come to an end, will choose to enter the martial wasteland to sacrifice their lives to fight for opportunities. But no one has ever been able to escape the Wu Huangban alive. Not long after Long Zixuan advanced, he saw a figure at the mountain pass ahead. It was a middle-aged man, his clothes were in tatters, his eyes were numb and lifeless, as if he was waiting for Long Zixuan. His whole body was almost rotten, and only a pair of fists remained, but they seemed to remain unchanged forever. As Long Zixuan approached, the middle-aged man suddenly raised his fist and charged towards Long Zixuan. This punch, mixed with the purest martial arts aura, shook the space and made the earth tremble. This Huang Nu was a strong martial artist during his lifetime. The realm is very strong. When Long Zixuan saw this, he raised his fist indifferently and smashed it out. It is also the simplest and purest punch. The two purest fists collided together, but evolved into endless martial arts rhymes, intertwined with each other, resonated, and exploded. In the end, the middle-aged man blocking the mountain pass had only bones left in his fists. It fell to its knees and died. As a slave in the restricted area, this strong man has only one obsession left. Now, martial arts has been defeated, and his last obsession has dissipated. Turn into smoke and dust. Long Zixuan continued to move forward. Not long after, he saw a stunningly beautiful woman. Dressed in black, the woman was as stunning as a butterfly in the night, with a graceful figure. But when she walked in, she discovered that her long legs were still beautiful, but other parts of her body had rotted away. Those long legs were like two giant pythons, slashing towards Long Zixuan. Long Zixuan flew and kicked. Bang! Those long legs were kicked off by him. The second blocker was defeated. Long Zixuan finally saw the mountain peaks ahead. And the third blocker, a skeleton with an intact head. In this space, the endless martial arts will transformed into thousands of armies and various magical weapons, heading towards Long Zixuan. The martial arts will of the third blocker was astonishing. However, Long Zixuan stood with his hands behind his back and strode forward. His martial arts will did not evolve into divine weapons, demons, etc., but was released at will. However, the various horrific scenes transformed into the skeleton's martial arts will collapsed in front of his martial arts will. When Long Zixuan walked by, the skeleton slowly dissipated. He finally reached a mountain peak. The mountain peak has cracked, revealing the scene at the bottom of the peak, where there is only an iron coffin. The iron coffin seemed to have been moved away by the coffin bearer, and thick grey mist overflowed from the iron coffin. Long Zixuan's eyes flashed. Ga! There was a sharp sound, and the iron coffin suddenly seemed to be pushed open by something. A grey-white hand reached out from the coffin, grasped the coffin lid, and with a slap, the coffin lid flew out, flattening dozens of mountains along the way. Inside the iron coffin, a sinister and chaotic grey mist rose. A corpse suddenly sat up from the coffin. It was a man with light white hair all over his body. His skin was like phosphorus white bark, tightly attached to his bones. His eye sockets were sunken. He slowly turned his head and looked at Long Zixuan. Although he already looked like a ghost, it could be vaguely seen that his appearance was, almost exactly the same as Long Zixuan's. Martial Lord. Behind Long Zixuan, the little turtle had appeared. It looked at the man in the coffin and said in surprise. It's really him, he has been transformed into an evil corpse and has entered the evil path. Be careful. Long Zixuan looked at the evil corpse, a look of contemplation flashed in his eyes. At this moment, he felt something. There is indeed some connection between this corpse and himself. My own past life? And the evil corpse also looked at Long Xuanhuan, with indifference in his hollow and deep-set eye sockets, and suddenly there was a wave of thought. Grey mist is the destination of all life. Distortion and madness are irresistible evil paths, only destruction is the cleanest way back. The information conveyed by this thought made both little Wogui and Long Xuanhuan understand. Long Xuanhuan opened his mouth and said, "The road in the past life was broken, but this life can continue. The disaster of grey fog has been eliminated. That person has returned. Your obsession should dissipate." Hearing this, the evil corpse of Wu Zun sitting in the coffin burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha, that one." He stared at Long Xuanhuan and said, "I saw with my own eyes that person has turned into a ghost. He was sealed in the ghost village, he will never be able to reappear forever, the road to this world has been completely cut off." Wu Zunziji's emotions seemed to fluctuate violently, and in his empty eye sockets, there was an indescribable murderous intention and mania. "I saw with my own eyes, the one who died, turned into a ghost in the boundless darkness. The entire ancestral world will eventually become his ghost kingdom, destroy the ancestral world and kill everyone to cut off his ghost path. You are also a ghost. I'm going to kill you, I'm going to destroy the heavens." The evil corpse stood up in one step. The overwhelming martial arts energy was released from the body of this evil corpse. Boom boom. Throughout the martial wilderness forbidden land, the earth cracked, mountains and rivers collapsed, and terrifying pressure swept out from the eastern wilderness, overwhelming the entire martial wilderness world. In the Wuhuang world, the common people are trembling and the world is frightened. The flies flying in the sky were so frightened that they fell to the ground. The spiritual beasts and tigers running on the ground immediately crawled and trembled. All cultivators felt this and looked in the direction of Donghuang, horrified. Have the beings in the Wuhuang forbidden land awakened? No. This kind of energy is too strong. Could it be that the legendary martial artist is born? Destroy the world, the power of destroying the world. Everyone in the Wuhuang world is afraid. Somewhere outside the eastern wasteland, a warship exploded and a group of people fell from the sky. Song Jiyuan and others were all shocked at this moment. Such a strong aura, the martial lord evil corpse is fully revived. Song Jiyuan looked very ugly. The evil corpse at this time is very dangerous. If you get too close, I'm afraid you'll die. His expression changed, he hesitated, looked at the man in black robe next to him, and said, "Song Ming, you go in with the bones of the Forbidden Lord." He was scared. Now it seems that it is better to let Song Ming go and wait until the bones of the Forbidden Master absorb the evil energy in the forbidden area and the evil corpse of Wu Zun leaves, and then go in and get it himself. This is the most appropriate. Hearing this, Song Ming, the man in black robe, also panicked. "Sir, please let him go. This man can run fast." He pointed towards Ao Wushuan. When Ao Wushuan heard this, his eyes immediately went straight. "Damn, these people have gone too far. Let yourself lead the way, and let yourself be used as cannon fodder." He hated it so much that his teeth itched, so he just gave it up and said, "Sir, it's not safe for me to go alone, otherwise, let Master Song Ming and the others accompany me." Hearing this, Song Jiyuan nodded and said, "Well, that's it, Song Ming, you take him with you." With that said, he handed the jade box containing the Forbidden Lord's arm bone to Song Ming. Song Ming's face was livid, he gave Ao Wushuan a vicious look and said, "You go to the front. Lead the way. Now." The aura of Wu Zun's evil corpse has alarmed the entire Wuhuang world. It made all the creatures in the Wuhuang world tremble and panic. However, this doesn't end there. In the forbidden area of Wuhuang, the evil corpse stood in the coffin. He suddenly raised his empty eye sockets, as if he was looking at the universe and Bawang. The tyrannical evil spirit of martial arts, like a powerful wave, rushed out of the martial wilderness world and spread across the entire ancestral world. At this moment, the entire chaos ancestral realm, the 4 realms and 8 wastelands felt like it. Sound shortage. Ding. A piano sound sounded from a top-secret place, and the notes flew as if with crazy joy. The evil corpse of martial arts came out. Did the bet come true? I've been waiting for too long. An unknown presence whispers. Great Brahma wasteland. When? A bell rang, and at the highest peak of the world, a big bell hung. Under the big bell, an old monk sat cross-legged. The old monk had an expressionless face and was wearing a bloody cassock. He slowly opened his eyes at this moment. The 12 bets of eternity, the old monk has been waiting for a long time. It's late at night, and Xiao Gaixin respectfully invites all the empresses and princes to sleep in peace. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 797. The terrifying and powerful Wu Zun's aura was like a tsunami, shaking the entire ancestral world. It's not just 4 regions and 8 deserts. True Ancestor Realm. This is a vast world, boundless, with many giant cities that cannot fall suspended in the sky, and chaos warships often passing by in the sky. There are many chaotic ancient races, the ancient inheritance is powerful, and the powerful ancient country stretches for hundreds of billions of miles. The true ancestral realm, as the name suggests, is regarded by the world as the true ancestral realm. In the eyes of the world, the 4 realms and 8 wastelands have long become remote and barbaric places. In the true ancestor realm, there are complete 9 laws. The 9 immortal ancient clans that control the 9 laws can be called the real 9 ruling families in the true ancestor realm. The strong evil aura is coming from the direction of Wuhuang realm. What happened over there? The Chen clan, one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, today, in the ancestral land, an old voice sounded. Could it be that the evil corpse of Wu Zun has been born? Immediately send your blessings to the Temple of Sacrifice and wait for the orders from the ultimates in the Temple of Sacrifice. In the Ji family, the ancestral palace is very strict, and today there is a large array of magic formations in the family. The evil corpse of Wu Zun was released by the visitors. There was a powerful person whispering, saying, Ancestor Ji Xuanhuan, a few years ago, his soul returned to the family from an unspeakable underworld. He has not yet recovered, we cannot move. Be on full alert. In addition, I wish to inform the World Sacrifice Temple. At the same time, the true ancestor realm martial arts domain. The famous Wu clan, one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, looms large here and is well known to everyone in the world. Yes, today. In the ancestral land of the Wu clan, a rainbow light rose up in the sky. Suddenly, the entire Wu clan was shocked. The true self-mirror of martial arts glows autonomously. What's going on? It can make the martial arts true self-mirror shine, unless it senses the martial lord's aura. Could it be that the legendary evil corpse of Wu Zun was born? In the Wu clan, many old immortals were awakened for many years and were speculating. Among the Wu clan, a loud voice sounded. Suppress the true self-mirror of martial arts and wait for the decree from the sacrifice temple. You must not act rashly. Above the sky of the true ancestor realm, in an unknown and mysterious place, there is an ancient bronze temple. The temple of sacrifice to the world is respected by the whole world. The temple of sacrifice to the world is said to be related to the one at the end of 10,000 paths, and is the place of practice for the ultimate masters of the 9 dharmas. Throughout the ages, those strong men who have practiced the 9 dharma to the ultimate level are all in the temple of sacrifice to the world. Now, In the temple of sacrifice, an old and hoarse voice slowly sounded. Wuzun is out. The forbidden lord who visits the forbidden city can indeed awaken the evil corpse. Another deep and powerful voice said. The evil corpse is born, and the bridge between the ancestral world and the grey fog sea will be rebuilt. Are we really going to take the path of grey fog? The old hoarse voice from before continued. The 9 methods created at the end of 10,000 paths. If we want to achieve enlightenment, we must join forces to sacrifice the world, and with the help of the great power of the world, we can break through the glimmer of opportunity for enlightenment. She wants us to help everyone in the entire ancestral world go on the road together to achieve a miracle that will reach the heavens. Of course, this road is too risky. We have become the strongest. Why should we sacrifice our interests to help those earthly ants on the road? Be strong first and then be strong? Then we can realize the truth together? Who would believe this nonsense except the 2 idiots Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng? This voice is extremely cold and heartless. The calm and powerful voice said. Don't forget, our road is paved for us by the one who ends the journey. What we have achieved today is only a gift from her. Without the one at the end of 10,000 paths, there would be no post-White Mist era. The hoarse voice laughed and said. The one at the end of 10,000 paths is dead. The people are gone. Are the words left behind still useful? Rebuilding the connection with the Sea of Grey Mist and allowing the origins of the Sea of Grey Mist to flow back into the ancestral world will allow us to take a step further and live better. Forget the nonsense about the whole world being on the road. We are on the road, so we should seal the road. Hearing this, the deep and powerful voice was silent for a long time. In the end, it just sighed and said. I hope that evil corpse won't cause too much trouble. The true ancestor realm was silent. Many forces are waiting for the order from the sacrifice temple to suppress the unrest in the Wuhuang world. However, there was no news. Now. Wuhuang realm, Donghuang, Wuhuang forbidden land. The evil corpse of Wuzun suppresses the heavens with his energy. At this moment, he looked at Long Zixuan coldly and stepped closer. Do you dare to fight? Long Zixuan suddenly spoke. Hearing this, the martial lord evil corpse sneered. Fight? Even though you have become a ghost, I will give you a fair chance to fight. Under his feet, terrifying martial arts brands and rules spread out densely, instantly turning the surrounding forbidden area into a martial arts battlefield. In this battlefield, your realm and mine will be restricted to the same level. I am the martial lord, I must kill you with dignity and dignity. Wu Zungzi corpse whispered, then, he raised his steps, and in the next moment, he was in front of Long Zixuan, and punched out. His speed was so fast that he reached the pinnacle of martial arts. On top of the fist, there is an invincible martial spirit. This punch seems to kill everything. With one punch, Long Zixuan suddenly disappeared. He actually only left an afterimage in place. The speed is so fast that it is invisible. Long Zixuan had appeared behind Wu Zunzizi and whispered. My legs have to be fast. What he was operating was the 6 techniques of hunting the sky taught by Li Fan, the leg technique. In the same realm, he fully felt the terrifying advantages of the 6 hunting techniques. In my previous life, I had brought my martial arts to a very terrifying stage. But before the 6 hunting techniques, it seemed that there was no advantage. It's a bit interesting. Even somewhere hidden above the forbidden area, an old man couldn't help but his eyes lit up at this moment. Well, this guy's martial arts skills seem to be better than mine. I'll grab him soon. He whispered. He is now using the martial arts evil corpse to test Long Zixuan's martial arts. He wanted to see if the woman who asked him to wait for eternity really had the ability to continue and break the path for himself. If not, he will beat Long Zixuan to death. In the battlefield, the Wuzun evil corpse missed a single hit and instantly burst out with more powerful power. He seemed to have transformed into a humanoid Tyrannosaurus, reaching peak speed. His shriveled body seemed to contain the power of thunder from the heavens. There was a terrifying look in his empty eyes, which was the true meaning of martial arts. Boom! With one punch, the battlefield was separated. Even though there was a martial arts battlefield left by the evil corpse of Martial Lord himself, the entire forbidden area was still cracked, and the mountains and rivers were in ruins. Long Xuanhuan did not flinch, and fought directly at close range. On his fists, there was a real dragon's roar, and the dragon soul outside his body was roaring. At this moment, Wu Zongziji and Long Xuanhuan were like a bunch of replicas. Their movements were so close that they were almost exactly the same. Terrifying collisions continued, martial arts runes were branded on the battlefield, flying all over the sky, and the rules of space were distorted. In the blink of an eye, the two sides fought for more than 1,000 rounds in martial arts. In these more than 1,000 rounds, Long Xuanhuan did not directly display the 6 skills of hunting the sky. What he has evolved is only the Dharma from his previous life. He is borrowing the Dharma from his previous life to reflect what he has learned in this life. Use your past life to understand the methods of this life. With the battle, his understanding of the 6 skills of hunting the sky became more and more profound. Then, another 1,000 rounds. Within this 1,000 rounds, the fight between the two reached a fever pitch. The will of martial arts shattered the void and transformed into various horrific phenomena fighting. The sky and the vast sea were eclipsed. Tisk, wonderful, wonderful. Somewhere in the sky, in secret, Luo Xin watched the battle and commented, but there was no satisfaction in his eyes. It is indeed strong enough, but unfortunately, it is not as good as me. Why should you continue the martial arts path for me? He decided that he would beat Long Xuanhuan to death soon. Then take away all Long Xuanhuan's skills. Right now. Boom. A terrifying shockwave erupted in the martial arts battlefield. With a heavy punch, the two violently impacted again, and finally they flew out upside down. The two stood opposite each other. You are my ghost, I will kill you. Wu Zongziji roared, and he suddenly closed his eyes. At this moment, behind Wuzun, martial arts will transformed into a piece of sky. Endless terrifying gods, beasts, etc. are coming from all over the sky, covering the sky and the earth. This is the absolute oppression of martial arts will. Long Xuanhuan also closed his eyes. But behind him, a shadow appeared. That's himself. Long Xuanhuan used his martial arts will to transform himself, and in his hand, a bow embryo appeared. Gong embryo is also transformed by martial arts will. The gods and demons from the gods and demons with the will of Wuzun Xieji swarmed in, as if the great world had come, to suppress everything. Long Xuanhuan's will is just to draw the bow. Martial arts is a bow, will is an arrow. Arrows fly quickly. Bang 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 bang. The gods, demons, and grey beasts all over the sky were shot out one after another at this moment, like raindrops. Excellent martial arts, kill the evil spirits. Martial Lord Evil Corpse shouted, he clasped his hands together, and the scene formed by the martial arts will of all the heavens condensed into one, and all martial arts brands, rules of the avenue, etc. were all reflected in this posture. This move is the condensed of all his martial arts insights and cultivation. It seems that there is a shocking fist intention, it seems that there is an unfathomable body skill evolving, it seems that it is inspired by a piercing eye, and the martial arts will seems to be condensed into a heavenly sword. Then, slash forward. There is no way forward with one cut. Ahead, Long Xuanhuan has entered the realm of enlightenment at this moment. All the 6 hunting techniques flowed through his mind. He looked at the attack performed by the evil corpse of Wuzun in front of him, and his mind was filled with emptiness. The road in my previous life had many flaws. This life, be perfect. He was filled with energy, and the martial arts energy in his body surged instantly. The martial arts energy turned into a true dragon and soared into the 9 heavens. On the sky behind the martial arts true dragon, there seemed to be a terrifying ladder to heaven. At the end of the ladder, it looked like a supreme palace. Seeing this scene, Wu Zongzi's corpse turned pale with horror. His sunken eye sockets seemed to be trembling, and he said, "The end of martial arts. The ultimate celestial phenomenon." At the same time, in the secret place, Luo Xingqian's eyes trembled. He looked at the shadow reflected above the martial arts ladder, and he understood. That is the road that can truly bring martial arts to its end. That is a palace where one can attain enlightenment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 798. Long Xuanhuan, observing the past life and reflecting the present life, raising his hand, the breath of martial arts shocked the sky, and he stepped on the real dragon invincibly. His martial arts will penetrated everything in the world and caused celestial phenomena. At this moment, the martial arts celestial phenomenon caused by Long Xuanhuan was not only reflected in the forbidden battlefield. Above the sky in the entire Wuhuang realm, everyone in the world felt it. They raised their eyes and looked towards the sky. The same celestial phenomena appeared in the sky all over the Wuhuang realm. It is a vast and boundless martial arts ladder, connected to the vast and infinite clouds. Above the ultimate cloud, there is an illusory palace. It is so majestic that it seems to suppress the heavens for eternity. It is the ultimate place for all martial arts roads. How is this going? The end of all martial arts paths. Oh my God, this is the celestial phenomenon of enlightenment. Is there an opportunity for enlightenment in the martial world? Is there an immortal existence that is about to prove its way to martial arts? The world was shocked, and countless creatures were kneeling down to worship, looking at the celestial phenomena in the sky with utmost piety. At the same time, all the 4 regions and 8 deserts feel it. Has the end of the martial arts road been revealed? In the absence of sound, the sound of the piano suddenly stopped, and a clear and beautiful voice sounded, saying, "The guy guarding Wu Zun's evil corpse has become more prosperous this time. He made the right bet." There seemed to be a hint of envy in these words, and he murmured, "When will it be my turn?" Great Brahma wasteland. In a certain ancient temple, an old monk who looked like a dead tree whispered. In the past, the one who was known as the End of 10,000 Ways, although she has smelted all the magic in the world, she did not show the end of martial arts. Now, the end of martial arts has appeared. Is there anyone more amazing than her in the long river of time? In the eyes of the old monk, there had been no ripples in the ancient well for thousands of years, but now there was a wave of ripples. That one in this world's legend? I really want to meet him. Not just the 4 realms and 8 wastelands, but even the true ancestor realm. Nowadays, there are manifestations in the vast ancestral world, and celestial phenomena are spread all over the place, triggering the worship of the world. The end of martial arts is manifested, which means that there is a way to reach the ultimate end. Will this life be the era of martial arts? What kind of existence actually evolved the road to the end of the martial arts? Is it the evil corpse of the martial lord? The earth-shattering martial lord evil corpse in his previous life was one of the most amazing figures. In the past eons, he actually followed the path of martial arts among the evil spirits. This is amazing. The great road of Wuhuang realm reaches the sky. From today on, it will no longer be a barbarian land. I am afraid that a peerless great inheritance will rise. In the ancestral world, many shocking old immortal beings are whispering. Everyone knows what the celestial phenomenon that appears at this moment means. That means that there is a way to attain enlightenment in this world. Martial arts. This is the first time it has appeared since the post-White Fog era. Even though the one who is known as the End of 10,000 Paths created the 9 Dharma, there is no 9 Dharma cultivator in the world who can use the 9 Dharma to manifest the ultimate celestial phenomena. Because it is said that the path to the realization of the 9 dharmas is extremely demanding and requires the whole world to sacrifice. In any case, the emergence of the ultimate celestial phenomenon in martial arts. This will definitely affect an era. Even the temple of sacrifice fell into a long silence at this moment. Martial arts can actually prove the way to heaven. Martial Lord is really powerful, not weaker than those peerless beings in the sea of grey mist. Shen Ning's powerful voice sounded, with a hint of exclamation. The mute old voice sneered and said, "Don't forget, Wu Zun's evil corpse has already turned into a strange creature. His current martial arts is also the martial arts of the Grey Fog Path. This can only prove that we are correct in taking the Grey Fog Path. It's time to fully cooperate with the forbidden visitors. The more evil corpses they find, the sooner the connection between the ancestral world and the Grey Mist Sea can be restarted." The heavens shook. All forces are paying attention to Wuhuang realm at this moment. The world's attention. And at this moment. Wuhuang realm, Wuhuang forbidden land. The reflection of the celestial phenomena is extremely sacred. Long Xuanhuan stepped on the real dragon. Beside him, Kunpeng's shadow was manifesting, and the martial arts Tianxin lotus was blooming. Behind him, the ladder and the palace represent the end of all martial arts, becoming his invincible foil. As for martial master Evil Corpse, he was already shocked at this moment. He looked at the illusory martial arts ladder and palace with some sluggishness. The style that he had just used all his strength to condense, had now dissipated. If the martial arts of Wuzun Xiezhan just now was a small river, then what Long Xuanhuan showed at this moment was an entire ocean. In front of the martial arts that represents the end, the martial arts of the previous life directly and autonomously dissipated. No. You are just a ghost. A ghost, how can you reach the end of the martial arts, how can you ascend to the ultimate hall and enter the room where the road ends? Wu Zungziji murmured. If in my previous life, I had reached the end and could go with that person, maybe the ending could be changed. Maybe that one can avoid becoming a ghost. He whispered, saying. I saw him being killed by a ghost in the black mist. The road ahead was pitch black. In front of the Black Sea Dam, he couldn't see the light behind him. He was supporting himself without any help, in the end he could only become a ghost in the black mist. Wu Zungzi corpse suddenly raised his eyes, then rose into the sky, heading towards the illusory ladder and palace. He wants to see the end of the road. At this moment, even Luo Xin Chen, who was hiding, couldn't help but walk out. He looked at the ladder and the hall and wished he could rush in immediately. However, he did not dare. Because that is Long Xuanhuan's path to enlightenment. If he goes there rashly, something strange will happen. I saw the evil corpse of Wu Zun about to step onto the ladder to heaven. Long Xuanhuan saw this but did not stop him. But with a wave of his hand, the martial arts ladder fell down, and the palace appeared in front of the evil corpse of Wu Zun. The evil corpse of Wu Zun ascends the ladder to heaven and enters the palace. At this moment, Long Xuanhuan felt something. Wu Zun's evil corpse stepped on his path, allowing him to instantly see all the cause and effect of Wu Zun. He saw the unknown scenes of time in the long river of the universe. It was an earth-shattering battle. Wu Zun fought until the sky collapsed. Beside him, there were monks weeping blood, piano strings cut off, and broken swords exploding in the air. The boundless grey fog was almost penetrated. The grey mist world, it's nothing more than this, who dares to fight again? Wu Zun fought until he was covered in blood, and danced wildly, destroying the ancestral mountains one after another in the grey mist world. Unparalleled powerful men are constantly being born, and there are even grey paths manifesting, and beings on certain paths are suppressing and killing martial lords. But Wu Zun was invincible and destroyed all the grey fog roads. He fought through the grey fog ocean with blood and saw an ancient road. The one who walked the road to calm the chaos, are here. Wu Zun shouted, he took the first step, crossed the entire gray fog ocean, and set foot on that road. However, right now, a dark shadow appeared. At the end of the dark path, there was clearly a terrifying scene. An existence that cannot be seen directly and cannot be described is swallowed up by darkness. He struggles in the darkness, but cannot see the light behind him. He eventually loses himself and turns into a ghost in the darkness. Seeing that scene, Wuzun, who was determined to move forward, was instantly stunned. No. Did that person turn into a ghost on the way to peace? Even he is dead. Where is the light in this world? Wuzun looked up to the sky and cried out in sorrow. That scene made Wuzundeo feel heartbroken. At the same time, a black hand appeared from the black path and struck out. Wuzun, whose Taoist heart had collapsed, was unable to resist and was killed. He was thrown into the grave. Seeing this scene, Xuanhuan was shocked. Is that the truth about past lives? In my previous life, I saw the scene displayed on the black phantom path. Could it be true? At this moment, his past and present lives became clear. He already understood that the reason why he turned into an evil corpse in his previous life was not only because of the black hands on the phantom path, but more importantly, Taoist heart collapsed. Seeing that person turn into a ghost, for the entire ancestral world and all the strong people. It's like the sky is falling. Lost the last hope. Did the 10 deities all fall like this? Xuanhuan didn't know. He only felt that his previous life was so heavy that he couldn't breathe. The 10 strongest ones fought their way through the sea of grey mist, and when they saw the way that man was going, what they saw was a terrifying prospect. In the end, all 10 of them died. No matter what, it's impossible for Master to really turn into a ghost. Xuanhuan spoke firmly. He raised his eyes and looked at the martial arts ladder and the hall. In this life, I want to go to the end of the road, and to see what is hidden on that road, in the sea of grey mist. His martial arts can break the sky. The evil corpse of Wuzun has now entered the Hall of Phantom. I don't know what the martial master evil corpse saw through the martial arts hall, and he suddenly knelt in front of the hall. At this moment, there seemed to be some kind of power in the Hall of Phantoms. With a flick of his finger, it landed on the evil corpse of Wuzun. The rich and endless aura of grey mist on Wuzunzi's corpse was evaporated in an instant. His grey stone skin fell off in large swaths, as if he was reborn and regained his flesh and blood. Seeing this scene, Xuanhuan was very shocked. Is there something hidden in the martial arts hall? Luo Xingchen was even more stunned and shocked to the extreme, and said, What? What kind of existence is connected to the martial arts palace? With just a few clicks, you can wash away the evil spirit of the evil corpse and restore his consciousness. He couldn't help but murmured. My dear, you are stronger than the woman at the end of 10,000 paths. That woman back then couldn't even do this. At this moment, he suddenly understood why the woman would hit him when he said that no one in the world could compare with that woman. Because, his words seemed to be a sign of respect for the woman, but they were contempt for the existence behind the martial arts palace. He couldn't help but shudder and felt a wave of fear. He was very lucky. He was beaten just now, really well. Otherwise, based on his previous attitude, once he is sensed by the existence behind the martial arts hall, big things will happen. It's not as simple as being beaten. It's very possible that it was erased without even realizing it. Terrible. And in front of the martial arts hall. At this moment, Wuzun's evil corpse no longer looked like a grey ghost at all. He regained his former majestic appearance, but at this moment, his words were trembling. You are not dead. You didn't become a ghost. The martial lord in his previous life actually had tears in his eyes at this moment. Ha ha ha, you have not turned into a ghost. There is still hope in this world. It turns out that you didn't become a ghost, but I became a ghost. Great, Great. He knelt down and saluted the person behind the martial arts hall. Immediately afterwards, the martial arts hall and the ladder slowly disappeared. And at this moment, the background of the martial arts world is a desert of dead people. A small mountain village, in a small courtyard. Under the peach tree, Li Fan opened his eyes. He stretched and found that he was covered with a blanket. Gongya was standing by the side and couldn't help but say. When the master just fell asleep, there seemed to be a slight frown between his eyebrows. Master, are you dreaming? Hearing this, Li Fan couldn't help but smile, nodded and said. When I took a nap just now, I did have a dream. In the dream, I vaguely saw Xuanhuan. He was described as being in a miserable state, his clothes were torn, and he looked like a grey ghost. Hearing this, Gongya couldn't help but said, what next? Li Fan said. I saw that his body was stained with black energy, and I flicked my sleeves for him in my dream, and he became like a normal person. When he wanted to worship me, he woke up from a dream. He said flatly. But at this moment, in the small courtyard, the peach trees drooped, the chickens turned back, and the fish flew to the bottom. Autumn sleepiness often brings many dreams. I'm honest but I can't deceive you, Gongya, let's have a cup of rice wine to go away the cold. Li Fan spoke calmly, it was just a small dream and he didn't take it to heart. Hearing this, Gongya immediately served the rice wine. Li Fan took the glass and took a sip. The wine was in his throat, but he felt inexplicably sentimental, he really wanted to get drunk. Autumn, really makes people sad. It's late at night, and Xiao Geixin wants to serve all the ladies to take a bath and go to bed. Princes, please go to sleep. Quack quack. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 799. Xuanhuan. The ladder to heaven disappeared, the palace disappeared, and the ultimate celestial phenomenon caused by Long Xuanhuan just now disappeared. He looked at Wuzun's evil corpse, but after all, he didn't deliver the final blow. Because, he knew that the evil corpse of Wuzun at this moment had been purified by the existence connected behind the martial arts hall, and regained a moment of light. Have you seen, Master? He couldn't help but speak to the previous martial master. The 6 heaven hunting techniques came from the master, therefore, Long Xuanhuan felt that what the evil corpse of the martial master saw in the martial arts hall was probably the master's projection. Only master has such a heaven-defying power. With a flick of his finger, the eternal evil corpse can return to the Qingming. At this moment, Wuzun is majestic and handsome, with black hair like a waterfall. Although the clothes on his body have been eroded by the years and become grey and dilapidated, they do not conceal his unparalleled and supreme temperament. His flesh and blood body recovered briefly, and at this moment, there was actually a trace of tears in his eyes. Master! He murmured, with a relieved smile in his eyes, and said. I understand. No wonder you were able to be reborn in the later years even though you died completely back then, and you also found the true path to martial arts. It turns out it was his old man who fished you out of the river of cause and effect. He understood everything. Follow me back to see Master. Long Xuanhuan looked at Wuzun. He and Wuzun were originally the same person, but Wuzun died in the previous life, but he was picked up by Li Fan in the long river of cause and effect in the future life. However, Wuzun shook his head and said. No need. I have died, and this moment is just a reflection of my life. It's time for me to fulfill my final destiny. He turned around calmly and suddenly looked in a certain direction. In an instant, deep in the infinite sky, a terrifying long bridge of order emerged from the space inexplicably and appeared directly under his feet. No one knows where the long bridge of order is connected. In the past, did the one at the end of 10,000 paths suppress the great disaster? Looking at the long bridge of order, Wuzun whispered. Now that the era is restarted, the cause and effect and disasters that were cut off by her will come again. It's time for me to hit the road. He walked onto the long bridge of order in a free and easy manner. As he took steps, the stars moved around, and the long bridge of order moved with his steps. He appeared in the South China Sea of Wuhuang realm. Seeing the vast mist and calmness here, he couldn't help but smile and said, "That's right, the one who has returned. How can those few remnants here stir up trouble?" He originally wanted to come here to put an end to the chaos during his final moment of glory. But now, it is no longer needed. If the bridge of order moves again, he is already outside the Wuhuang world. He looked in a certain direction and the figure disappeared again. And at this moment, true ancestor realm, the ultimate celestial phenomenon disappeared. Has the turmoil subsided in the Wuhuang realm? Wuzun, where is he? The sudden calm triggered speculation among the world. However, right now, a terrifying bridge of order lay directly across the entire true ancestor realm, overwhelming Wanzhou and coming suddenly. At this moment, the entire true ancestor realm felt it. Is this the supreme excursion? Have the powerful men from the temple of sacrifice walked out? Impossible. It's not the world's sacrifice temple, it's the aura of martial arts. It should be the one from the martial wilderness realm who is traveling. The world was shocked, and many cultivators were bowing to Tianyu at this moment. Even in the post-White Mist era, Wuzun is still respected by the world. No. Martial Lord, hasn't he already become an evil corpse? If he comes to the true ancestor realm, I'm afraid it will cause a big disaster. However, at this time, many of the big forces who controlled Xian were frightened. They know more and understand that the 10 former gods may have become evil corpses. Now, an evil corpse appears in the ancestral world, which may bring disaster. Seal the ancestral land. Activate the mountain protection formation. No clan members are allowed to go out, stay away. If it is really the evil corpse of Wuzun, no one among the ultimates in the temple of sacrifice can be his opponent. All the major forces hurriedly lowered their defenses and followed the movement of the bridge of order in Tianyu with fear. At the same time, the ancestral land of the Wu clan. The aura of the martial master, the martial Dao true self mirror can no longer be suppressed. An elder spoke in a trembling voice. Boom. Suddenly, a rainbow light rose against the sky, broke through the Wu clan's obstruction, and headed directly towards the sky. At the same time, a top-secret place somewhere in the true ancestor realm. Song Jiyuan succeeded, he released the evil corpse. There are faint eyes watching every move in the true ancestor realm. Wuzun evil corpse is just the beginning. But, immediately after, in this space, a certain object also flew away quickly. No, the martial arts Tong Tianjar flew away. Someone shouted. When I sense Wuzun's aura, the artifacts that once belonged to him will naturally go there, don't worry about it for now. In the Prohibitor organization, there are high-level openings. And at this moment, Wuzun walked over the true ancestor realm. His eyes swept across the hundreds of millions of mountains and rivers in the true ancestor realm, and he sighed with emotion. The mountains and rivers remain the same, but where are the old friends? He looked back and vaguely saw the 4 realms and 8 wastelands, all over the starry sky. They are all gone. He naturally felt the aura existing in the 4 realms and 8 wastelands, but he did not want to disturb it. The situation of the 4 realms and 8 desolations came from the hands of the one at the end of 10,000 paths. He believed that he had his own intentions. In the sky, there were 2 rainbow lights from 2 different directions, flying through the space towards him. In front of him in an instant, there was a mirror and a stone jar. At this moment, the mirror and the stone jar suddenly seemed to be alive. They were actually kneeling in front of Lord Wu, as if they were bowing in a great ceremony. Wuzun looked at these 2 artifacts with a trace of reminiscence in his eyes. Before he embarked on the final battle, he lived for a while in a hut outside the wilderness of his ancestral realm. At that time, his cultivation reached its peak, and some of the artifacts in the hut were also tainted with a bit of martial arts aura. I never thought that there would be so many of them turned into artifacts. I'm determined. Wu Zun spoke, and then continued to move forward. But the two utensils followed him like servants. I am dead, so there is no need to follow me. If you are destined to meet me in the future, you will naturally meet me in my future life. Wu Zun said something calmly, and the stone jar and mirror immediately stopped and stared at him from a distance, as if they were sending him away. In the blink of an eye, Wu Zun arrived at the center of the entire true ancestor realm, the sacrifice divine state. This place is the holy land of the entire true ancestor realm. The temple of sacrifice to the world is in this state, and all forces in the world need to come to worship. At this moment, Shishi Shenzhou, a magnificent and huge temple, stands on the land here, covering an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. It can be called the most magnificent building in the entire true ancestor realm. The incense is booming and there are countless believers. In fact, the temple of sacrifice standing on the ground is not the real temple of sacrifice of the world, but just a symbol of the temple of sacrifice in the mortal world. The real temple of sacrifice to the world is invisible to ordinary people and is hidden in the highest place in the world. And today, the bridge of order extends. A strong man came from the bridge of order with his hands behind his back and crossed directly from the temple of sacrifice to the world. Is this the evil corpse of Wu Zun? How dare he walk through the world's sacrifice temple? Even though the one on this earth is not a real temple for worshipping the world, it is still a symbol of the temple for worshipping the world. He is disrespectful to the temple of sacrifice. In the temple of sacrifice to the world, many beings were forced to kneel by the aura of the martial lord, but they were whispering at this moment. On the sky, Wu Zun stood with his hands behind his back, not even looking at the magnificent building below. Instead, he raised his eyes and scanned the sky. The energy in his body was so strong that it almost shattered this space. Suddenly, the Panzong temple was forced out by him. The temple of sacrifice is manifesting. Martial Lord, he actually forced him out of the world's sacrifice temple. The next moment, Wu Zun had already appeared in the 10,000 layers temple. Is he going to challenge the ultimate beings in the temple of sacrifice? Those beings are also supreme and not weaker than him. Everyone is paying attention. This is most likely a collision between the ultimate and the supreme. At this moment, the grand temple that Wu Zun had forced out stood tall in the sky. In the temple, a pair of eyes lit up, looking at Wu Zun, and a hoarse voice sounded, saying, "The deceased is gone. Since you are already dead, what are you doing here?" Wu Zun said calmly, "I want to see how strong the ultimates in this life are." Hearing this, the old voice in the 10,000 layers temple said solemnly, "How dare you challenge us even though you are just looking back? Remembering that you died fighting for the ancestral world, I will let you go. Don't make any mistakes. The beings in the temple are very confident, they are the ultimate ones." As for Wu Zun, although he was a genius and respected in history, according to the records in the pre-White Mist era, he also only reached the end in that life and failed to achieve enlightenment, and the catastrophe had already arrived. Wu Zun went to war at a young age, but before he could fully grow up, he died in a catastrophe. Hearing this, Wu Zun smiled and said, "Put the ultimate," with such a loud tone. "I haven't seen him for a long time." After saying this, Wu Zun's martial arts will came up as soon as he thought about it. One thought shocked the temple. "Dare you? With all your strength, you still dare to be so arrogant?" In the temple of sacrifice to the world, a strong man pointed out a finger. In that finger, there seemed to be thousands of Dharma and Tao, which was extremely terrifying and earth-shattering. Wu Zun looked at this finger, and a divine light bloomed in his eyes. That terrifying finger was about to fall, and Wuzun took action, evolved his martial arts, and executed it in one move. Boom! The sky roared and the temple shook. All the power of that finger was completely dissipated. In the temple of sacrifice, there was even a muffled sound. The Dharma created at the end of 10,000 paths is really shocking. Wuzun spoke, his eyes full of admiration, and said, "The law is the supreme law, but unfortunately, you are too weak." Hearing this, there was silence in the sacrifice temple. It was just a blow, and the temple of sacrifice did not dare to respond again. I observe the 9 Dharma, which seems to have the power to save all living beings. Wuzun whispered and said, "Does she want to put the world on the road? It's so majestic, it's rare to see it in all eternity, maybe, only by traveling all over the world can we survive in the sea of grey fog." He glanced at the temple of sacrifice, with an incomparable coldness in his eyes. "It is really a waste of resources for such a supreme law to be used by selfish people like you." His fighting spirit revived and he wanted to penetrate this temple. In just a moment, he had already penetrated the mysteries of the 9 Dharmas. Because, it can be said that there are no secrets at all in the 9 methods created at the end of 10,000 paths. They are upright and upright. They were created for the entire ancestral world and can be practiced by any living being. 9 methods can save the world. However, there is no complete inheritance of the 9 Dharma in the 4 realms and 8 wastelands, and even in the true ancestor realm. The inheritance of the 9 laws is imprisoned by this temple. These ultimate beings of later generations have reached the ultimate point by relying on the 9 Dharmas, but they have forgotten the original intention of the creation of the 9 Dharmas, and even banned the 9 Dharmas, tearing down the path of the world. Do you really want to fight? In the temple of sacrifice, other voices sounded, saying, "You are the only one left, time is running out." Hearing this, Wuzun looked indifferent, but in the end he didn't take action again. It's not that he's afraid, but that he really doesn't have much time and can't waste it here. All gifts from fate have already been secretly marked with a price. Someone will come to deal with you. After saying that, Wuzun turned around and left. The long bridge of order flies directly to the outermost wilderness of the true ancestor realm. On the border of the true ancestor realm, there is a vast great wall. The great wall is made of grey bones. They are all the corpses of grey mist creatures. Arriving here, Wuzun was silent. In a daze, I seemed to see her here, fighting against the enemies of the heavens, using the bones of the great enemies to build an immortal city. He whispered, with unparalleled admiration in his eyes. Then, he stepped out of the great wall. Beyond the great wall of bones is a vast abyss of heaven. Using bones to suppress Xuanhuan, very good, very good. He laughed and left. On the same day, there was news about the Great Wall in Xuanhuan. Some people see the unparalleled martial lord step into the abyss of heaven, and never see him again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 800. The unparalleled martial lord walked out of the martial wilderness realm, traversed the true ancestor realm, threatened the world sacrifice temple, and left calmly until he disappeared. The overwhelming aura of martial arts that dominated the world has disappeared. However, the true ancestor realm is still in turmoil and has not returned to calm. Wuzun left. Where did he go? That's the direction of the Xuanhuan Great Wall. Is he going to kill into the sea of grey mist again? It's very possible that in his previous life, he died in the grey mist war. His obsession may be very deep. Everyone is speculating. At the same time, in the temple of sacrifice, the huge bronze palace is as cold as ice. At this moment, on a bronze throne, an old man wearing the robe of the supreme god. His face was actually a little pale. He is one of the ultimate beings in the bronze temple, Ningtianji. Before, it was he who took action, pointed out a finger, and collided with Wuzun. As a result, he lost. Defeat Bei in one fell swoop. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. This evil corpse is very strong. Ningtianji spoke. However, another ultimate next to him whispered. Wuzun's state doesn't look like an evil corpse. His consciousness seems to have recovered. According to the Old Testament, if we 12 ultimates hold sacrifices to the world at the same time, then the evil corpses buried in the 4 realms and 8 wastelands will be purified. At the same time, when the whole world goes on the road, they will also become the pioneers of the ancestral world and reopen the connection with the Grey Mist Sea. Logically speaking, we did not sacrifice the world at the same time, but asked the visitors to release him. He should not even be right. His words made the ultimates fall into thinking. Let the 9 tribes go and investigate and find out what happened. In any case, the first step has been taken to connect with the Sea of Grey Mist. Even if there are some hiccups, it doesn't matter anymore. Other voices sounded, saying, the evil corpse of Wuzun has been released. We have no room for hesitation. Now we must fully cooperate with the inspectors and let them release the evil corpse. In the temple, several ultimates were silent for a while. When Wuzun was born, the world of Wuhuang instantly attracted the attention of the world. Immediately send someone to the martial wilderness world. The ultimate martial arts celestial phenomenon appears there. If you get it, you can create a great inheritance. The Wuhuang world will surely rise, and it already has a road that can reach the extreme. The world spread the news. For the true ancestor realm, the 4 domains and 8 wastelands have long been barbarian lands. The true ancestral realm is the true successor to the original ancestral realm. It possesses the complete 9 laws and is the holy land of practice in the world. However, now that Wuzun has appeared, everyone thinks that the ultimate celestial phenomenon was caused by Wuzun, and must have left a legacy in the Wuhuang world. This will affect the pattern of the entire ancestral world. The martial lord came out of the martial wilderness, where there must have been a complete legacy of the martial lord. The Wu clan and the Wu family are very solemn. Their clan had received many inheritances from martial lords, and they had a deep connection with martial lords. Now that Wuzun is born, they are determined to win the inheritance of Wuzun. We hold the true mirror of martial arts and are direct descendants of martial lord. All his inheritance should belong to us. Let's go to Wuhuang realm immediately. When Wuzun passed through the border just now, the Wu clan, who had been so silent and dared not come out, was the first to speak out, claiming to be Wuzun's true heir, and embarked on a journey. Many other forces also immediately sent troops. The Wuhuang realm, once regarded as a barbaric land, has attracted the attention of the true ancestor realm. At the same time, there are 4 regions and 8 deserts. All major realms feel it. Sound shortage. The sound wilderness is vast, and the methods of practice in this domain are completely different from those in the martial wilderness world. People who are poor in music are all good at music. And in the entire sound wasteland, there is an ancient sacred mountain, Xuanhuan mountain, which is regarded by the world as the residence of the chaos god. The most musically gifted geniuses in the sound wasteland have the opportunity to enter Xuanhuan mountain. It is said that they will receive the inheritance from Xuanhuan mountain. The entire Xuanhuan mountain is covered with heavy snow all day long, without any other color. It is said that the beings on Xuanhuan mountain only like the color white. And today, above Xuanhuan mountain, a sarcophagus suddenly fell down from nowhere. The sarcophagus landed on the top of the snowy mountain of Xuanhuan mountain. But under the peak, there was a thatched cottage. In the thatched cottage, the sound of the piano played gently, but suddenly stopped at this moment. Ching Cheng has always abided by the agreement I made with you. As if feeling the arrival of the sarcophagus, a clear voice sounded in the thatched cottage, saying, "Why do you need to go there yourself? That's all. When the distant guest arrives, Ching Cheng will play the piano for you." The clear and beautiful voice fell, followed by the sound of a piano, which was like a silver bottle being broken, containing thousands of powers, like a tide rising in the blue sea, rushing towards the sarcophagus on the mountain peak. The existence in the thatched cottage is challenging the sarcophagus. The terrifying sound of the piano approached the sarcophagus, but when it was about to fall on the sarcophagus, a chi movement in the sarcophagus moved. Immediately afterwards, there was the same sound of the piano, coming from the top of the mountain to the bottom. The sound of the piano is exactly the same as the one played in the thatched cottage. But when it fell, the being in the thatched cottage was unable to play. With a dang sound, the sound of the strings breaking was heard. There was a long silence in the thatched cottage. After a long time, the clear voice sounded and said, "Eons have passed, Ching Cheng has not even reached your level back then. It's really embarrassing. But luckily, I'll be next, right?" There seemed to be a hint of expectation in that voice. Martial Wilderness World. In the forbidden land of Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan watched the previous martial master leave without saying a word for a long time. He understood that the martial lord in his previous life was indeed dead. Master can restore his clarity and get a moment of reflection, which is already a miracle. In his last moments, he used his mind to control the corpses to fill the so-called abyss. The past life is gone, this life is about self-improvement. Xuanhuan whispered. He fell from the sky, only to discover his own state. Breaking 2 realms in a row. Previously, he was in the 3rd realm of chaos, the realm of chaotic spiritual spring. After the chaotic spiritual spring, there are the 4 refinements, the 5 treasures, and the 6 aggregates. Now, all his limbs and bones have been transformed into gods, and his body has reached an incredible state. The so-called 4th refinement is the divine rainbow energy born in the spiritual spring, reaching the limbs, meridians, etc., tempering the whole body to become extremely powerful. The 5 treasures are to stimulate the potential of the 5 internal organs, cleanse the 5 internal organs, let the 5 internal organs connect to the spirit, and explore the potential in the 5 internal organs. Now, Xuanhuan's limbs are like a dragon, with infinite power. The 5 internal organs are like 5 treasures, continuously emitting the energy of life. If the 5 internal organs are not in decline, life will continue. Xuanhuan even felt that his 6 internal organs were being deified and excavated. At this moment, he seemed to have no shackles from his realm. In fact, just a moment ago, he used his martial arts to trigger the ultimate celestial phenomenon. At that moment, he realized the Tao of many realms. He even understood the realm behind the 6 aggregates. Lingtai, Hankai, Wuxia, Tianmen, hit the road. And going up the road is the ultimate in Dharma. Cultivators who reach this realm can be called the ultimate one by the world. The strongest among the ultimate is called the supreme. After setting out on the road, there is no way to follow in the world. Every road is full of thorns, and those who choose the road need to go through it themselves. The realm after embarking on the road is full of mystery and taboo, weird and magnificent coexisting. In the previous life, the realm of the martial lord was the supreme. The potential of the martial lord back then would never stop at the martial lord. However, when a catastrophe came, he had no time to grow, so he could only fight against it, and eventually died in the battle, unable to embark on the mysterious path after starting the road. In the battle just now, Xuanhuan reached his ultimate sublime level and triggered the ultimate celestial phenomenon. In a sense, he had almost experienced the realms of the 4th refining and the 1st road. It can be said that the realm is no longer a problem for him. From today on, everything will fall into place. Forget it, break through slowly and wait for everyone. Long Xuanhuan spoke, not prepared to break through in a hurry. After all, breaking through now would be a big loss. Well, go back to the courtyard, eat and drink, and continue to strengthen your foundation. How's it going, turtle? Did you remember anything more? At the same time, Long Xuanhuan turned around and looked at the turtle behind him. During the battle that year, Xuanhuan ran to find someone, and all the others died. Only Wogui did not die completely. He was saved by the one at the end of the world, but he just forgot a lot of things. This time I let it follow me out, also to see if I could make it recall more. When the turtle heard this, he thought thoughtfully and said, "Remember something, after she suppressed the catastrophe, in order to protect the ancestral world, she cut off the connection between the ancestral world and the sea of grey mist. At the same time, 9 laws were created, 9 laws, which are earth-shattering. It only takes 12 ultimates to sacrifice the world together, and it is possible to mobilize the creatures of the entire ancestral world to go on the road together." Hearing this, Long Xuanhuan looked shocked. The 9 methods are actually so defiant? Through the spiritual realization just now, he has understood how difficult it is to hit the road. Among the hundreds of millions of cultivators, it's hard for even one to get on the road. Most of the people in the world are ordinary people who do nothing and do not know where they are going until they die. Those who can find their own path and successfully embark on it. Very few. But, the one at the end of 10,000 paths is actually so courageous. Use 9 methods to save the world? He couldn't help but sigh in his heart, it was really amazing. 9 methods are methods that go against heaven. Unfortunately, she defeated all enemies, but lost to human nature. At this time, an old voice suddenly sounded. I saw an old man with silver hair appearing in the forbidden area at some point. The clothes on the old man's body were dusty after countless years, and even had many insect-eaten holes. His face was grey, and he was no different from a strange creature. It can even be said that he is a strange creature, cultivating the origin of grey mist. At this moment, he continued. In the past, after she created the 9 techniques, she spread them throughout the world, and everyone in the world knew them. From great cultivators to beggars and mortals, even Xuanhuan knew how to practice the 9 techniques. But, later, when someone reaches the ultimate level of cultivation, things change. The strong men who are the first to practice to the ultimate level burn all the books on the 9 laws in the world, monopolize the 9 laws, and control the 9 laws in their own hands. In this way, they have become the masters of the entire world and are superior. And the world has lost all hope of transcendence. There was a trace of ridicule in his old eyes as he said. Throughout her life, she has used thunderous methods, but she has a heart of a Buddha. This may be her only weakness. He has been guarding Wu Zun's body since the end of the pre-White Mist era. It can be said that since the post-White Mist era, everything in the Chaos ancestral realm, he has seen clearly, but he has never bothered to intervene. Hearing this, Long Xuanhuan and Little Turtle were both shocked. Who are you? Long Xuanhuan asked. The little turtle's scalp was numb and he said. This guy is the big deal here. The one responsible for suppressing your corpse. Let's go. It moved its claws. The formation flashed directly under his and Long Xuanhuan's feet, and then, Long Xuanhuan and it disappeared. Seeing this, the old man immediately became anxious and said. Hey, don't run. Wait for me. It's late at night, and Xiao Gaixin has to put quilts on all the ladies. Please don't catch a cold, and pay attention to keeping warm from the cold. Princes, please go down on your own, don't delay your duty to take care of your ladies. Oh, mathematical intersection symbol. Mathematical intersection symbol, oh haha. Go to sleep, good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 801. Long Xuanhuan and Little Turtle appeared outside Wuhuan Forbidden City in the blink of an eye. "How's it going?" Seeing them, Zhang Li, Wu Date and others who were waiting outside Wuhuan Forbidden City immediately came forward to greet them. Their faces were full of curiosity. The big battle that just happened in the Wuhuan Forbidden Land was too loud. It actually triggered the ultimate celestial phenomenon. The big black dog was shocked and repeatedly lamented that the magic given by his master was too powerful. Therefore, now they all want to know what is going on in the Wuhuan Forbidden Land. However, the little turtle shouted, "Run quickly, the big guy is chasing us." Hearing this, Dehe also sniffed the air, his face changed drastically, he bit his teeth and said, "I'll fight hard. Let that big guy see the great supernatural power of this emperor that reaches all over the world." After saying that, it immediately raised its legs, and then unleashed a powerful magical power that reached the sky and the earth. In an instant, the sky was like a torrential downpour. The heavy rain is coming, the sudden rain and strong wind are blowing through the forest and beating the leaves. "What the hell, you damn bitch, you're so playful." Wu Date was shocked when he saw this, the sky was full of things, it was simply trembling. "Let's go." The big black dog spoke hurriedly. The little turtle has set up the formation again. Suddenly, Zhang Li, Long Xuanhuan, Wu Date and others all disappeared together in an instant. At this moment, Wu Huan was at the rear. In the void, an old figure was forced out. He covered his nose and looked at the scene in front of him, his eyes filled with doubts about life. "Damn it, why did it suddenly start raining? The key is, it smells like urine." He was very suspicious that this was someone peeing in the sky. "Damn, it's raining urine, is this something a human can do?" He is very strong, but at this moment, he is simply intimidated and avoids him, not daring to approach him at all. After a long time, until all the urine rain fell, he could continue to chase. "Damn, there is a smell of dog urine in the air. Don't let me catch you, or I will tie you up and make you unable to urinate for the rest of your life." Luo Xingchen was furious. Long Xuanhuan and others, under the full speed of the little turtle, soon appeared in the desert of the dead. It wasn't until they arrived at the small mountain village that they breathed a long sigh of relief. "I know that before my great supernatural power, even if the heavenly lord or the great emperor comes, I will stay away." The big black dog looked proud. "Yeah, the sky is full of dog urine, who the hell dares to chase us in the rain of urine?" Wu Date couldn't help but sigh and said, "Dead dog, tell me the truth. Did you rely on this magical power to escape your life as a dog when you were able to survive in your previous life?" When Wu Date said this, Long Xuanhuan and Zhang Li couldn't help but look at the big black dog with complicated expressions. They feel the same way. The main thing is that the big black dog's movements just now were so smooth and natural, almost like instinct. How many times does it take to become so proficient? The big black dog really looks like a habitual criminal. Even the little turtle said, "Should I say it or not, my brother Hei's great magical power just now, the rainfall was evenly distributed and the route was calculated accurately, which protected the route of our magic circle. Even the big guys can only retreat. Brother Hei looks like he has experienced hundreds of battles and has rich experience, this is his skill." When the big black dog heard this, his eyes turned into anger and he said, "Wow, what do you know? This emperor is called both wise and brave." Everyone was talking, and suddenly, the space behind seemed to be torn open by something. "No. That big guy is chasing me." The turtle was startled and said hurriedly, "Brother Hei, nourish him." When the big black dog heard this, his forehead was covered with black lines and he was speechless. "Hurry into the village." Zhang Li spoke. They immediately hurried towards the village. And at this moment, the space above the dead man's wasteland and outside the mountain village was torn apart. In that space, a figure walked out. His hair was white all over the sky, and his clothes seemed to have been worn for tens of thousands of years. They were in tatters and full of traces of time. At this moment, there was anger in his old eyes, and he took a few big breaths before he dared to take a breath. Just now he was chasing me while holding his nose, and he didn't even dare to take a breath. If he hadn't thought that Long Zixuan's martial arts skills were too important, he really wouldn't want to pursue them. He would have to wait at least 3 to 5 months for the smell in the air to dissipate before he could pass through. Now, his eyes were filled with anger. "You're so inhumane. When I catch you, I'll seize you." He gritted his teeth secretly. Then, he looked forward. He saw that Long Zixuan and his party were entering a small mountain village at this moment. Along with them, there was surprisingly a big black dog. When Luo Xingchen saw this, his eyes suddenly became angry, but as he moved his eyes forward, he saw the small mountain village. "This is wrong." Luo Xingchen landed directly and stood outside the mountain village. He looked at the small mountain village in front of him, his old eyes clearly full of disbelief. "How is this possible, a place like this? Can such a place exist? Am I dazzled?" Luo Xingchen murmured, as if he had seen a miracle that did not belong to this world. His whole body was actually trembling. The kind of place that even mythical taboos dare not mention, does it really exist in this world? He took a breath of air and said, no wonder, in a place like this, let alone practicing martial arts, even if a dog urinates, it can spread all over the sky and form a great technique that will make even the ultimate tremble." He was instantly excited. As long as he can enter here, he feels that he can find an opportunity to enter his own palace without looking for Long Zixuan just now. However, a deep fear arose in his heart. "I am covered in grey fog, and I am afraid I will be killed if I go in. I am not worthy of this kind of place and have no qualifications to enter." He hesitated again and again, fear and desire playing at each other. "If you don't enter the tiger's den, you won't catch the tiger's cubs. I have been fighting for eternity, and it's not easy to come across a place like this. I will risk my life to explore it." Finally, he decided. Take a deep breath and walk towards the small mountain village step by step. And at this moment, Long Zixuan and others hurriedly walked into the village. As soon as they entered the village, Wu Dade said immediately, "Not good." The fishing net that had been put away on his body was released on its own in an instant. In an instant, a large net several hundred meters long and wide was spread out. In the fishing net, there were all kinds of seafood jumping alive. This fishing net is a supreme magic weapon. When we were in the South China Sea, we independently caught countless seafood. Later, it shrank to a very small size and could be carried around. However, now that we are in the village, it seems that it has lost its sacred power and has become ordinary. Let's drag it away first." Long Zixuan spoke, and the group of them immediately tried their best to drag a large net of seafood and move forward with difficulty. "Isn't this a great virtue? Why did you hit so many sea goods?" At this moment, an old voice sounded. "I saw the second uncle, drinking a small drink in his yard." Hearing the movement on the road, he got up and looked towards the roadside. He was very surprised at this moment. He walked out, glanced at the fishing net, a hint of joy appeared in his old eyes, and said, "Oysters, swimming crabs, turbot, these are all things the second uncle liked to eat when he was young." He couldn't help but give a thumbs up to Long Zixuan and others and said, Okay. This time we can have a banquet in the village again. How about it? Second uncle's fishing net is okay, right?" Wu Dade said. "Second uncle, it's easy to use, but it's too heavy and too heavy." They were pulling forward hastily. "Take your time, don't be in a hurry, if you kill the seafood, it won't taste good," the second uncle reminded. "Second uncle, we we are being chased, and we are busy going back to find the master. Zhang Li said directly. Hearing this, the second uncle suddenly frowned and said, "Is someone chasing you? Who is so bold as to chase you into the village? You drag the seafood to the village first, and the second uncle wants to see who has eaten the heart of the bear and the guts of the leopard." As he said that, his old face was very angry, and he walked towards the outside of the village on crutches. Zhang Li and others looked at each other. Second uncle, it should be okay, right? They now understand that the second uncle is definitely not an ordinary person. Wow, hold it steady, you can take it back, and I can go and see the fun. The big black dog rolled its eyes and followed the second uncle. Even Zhang Li's little turtle was slowly crawling towards the entrance of the village. That was so calm. These two guys never suffer, it seems there is no problem. Wu Dade said, "Let's go home first." And at this moment, outside the village, Luo Xingchen was already approaching. The closer he got to the small mountain village in front of him, the more nervous he became. For many years, as the most powerful person in martial arts, he no longer has this situation. As long as I enter it, I can find my own way. He whispered, and couldn't help but quicken his pace, and he was about to enter the village. But, at this moment, an old voice suddenly came from the entrance of the village, saying, "Hey, stop." Luo Xingchen looked up and saw an old man on crutches coming out of the village entrance. Seeing this old man, Luo Xingchen was shocked all over. His old eyes were filled with an incredible look, as if he had seen the most terrifying existence.